Hello everybody and welcome to Spa. It's the final round of the GT3 European Championship, the last of the 12 rounds of the season that started at Silverstone back in April with the Argo Racing Lamborghini on pole position on the new arena circuit. The advantage spun away very early by Philip Gaipel, and then Tony Seiler Racing Corvette coming through the field, battling their way towards the front. Great battle with the Graf Racing Corvette until it all went wrong for the number 16 Vet when, well, as you can see, that's not right, is it? A little bit of consternation in the team. The winner was the track speed Porsche, and in race number 2 it was the Tony Seiler Racing Corvette on pole position, and the Porsche, I'm afraid, rather spinning it away. Clever pit work by the Callaway Corvette 101 team had them take the second race victory. From the centre of the United Kingdom, we moved off to Brno. And it was Argo once again on pole position with the rain starting to fall at the start of the race. And what a race it was, with the conditions really a tyre man's nightmare. Dry start, then raining, then it dried out, and then as you can see it got wet again. The good news for Graf Racing, their Corvette working just as well in the wet as it did in the dry, and they took both race victories. Races 5 and 6 to Jarama. Once again, Argo Racing taking one of the pole positions. Albert von Turn and Taxis doing the job in qualifying. But the real turning point of the race, with just under 9 minutes to go, when the Callaway competition car came into contact with the Argo Racing, upsetting them and leaving the door open for the first and only so far race victory for Audi and Team Rosberg. In race number 6, Marco Holzer on pole position for Pro Speed competition Porsche. They had some competition from other Porsches, but it was the BMW in the end that came through. The Need for Speed by Schubert Motorsport, BMW Z4, taking a first season victory for BMW, for Dunlop, and of course for Claudia Hürtgen. To the high-speed test circuit at Paul Ricard's Callaway competition on pole for the first race, which was marked by a serious incident on the entrance to the Mistral Straight, which saw Porsches, Audis and Ferraris involved. The safety car called for when we went back racing. Once again, the BMW had good speed, carving its way back through the field. But it was the Callaway competition Corvette from pole position that took the victory. Pro Speed competition on pole for the second race. The Ferrari making a mistake early on at the first chicane, but a delightful double completed by Hunendal and Kelweitz, and that put them at the top of the championship standings as the GT3 European Championship headed for the wide open spaces of the Algarve. Callaway competition on pole for the first race. The battles were deep through the field, and turn 1 was where most of the action was. To losing out early on, the Callaway Corvette regaining the lead. Pit stop time, and the Pro Speed competition Porsche 911 sweeping around turn number 1 and into the lead. It was a lead that would not be relinquished, and through went Holzer and Van Splinteren to their victory. Race number 10 of the season, also at the Algarve, saw the Audi R8 of Sandlock Phoenix Racing on pole position. Ford and Porsche getting together at the hairpin. That was a battle for the lead. And once again, bad luck for Graf Racing with a right rear puncture, pitching the car into the gravel trap. In the second half of the race, it was a fabulous drive by the Callaway Corvette, first going for second and then taking the lead. The Pro Speed Porsche couldn't hold them back from the victory, and that was the Drivers' Championships taken for Honendal and Kelweitz. Which brings us to Zolder here in Belgium. Beautiful weather, absolutely perfect. Just about an hour east of Brussels. And we've already been racing this morning. And what a fantastic race we had. From pole position, the Ford holding back the early challenge from the Audi. The rest of the pack streaming through into the first corner, and it was bad luck for Zach Brown, who was pitched into a spin and ended up with the United Autosports Audi facing backwards, had to be pulled out of there. So the leaders, Ford, Audi and Corvette, streaking off towards the pit stops. Oh, and our cameraman almost getting a little too close to the action there, as Matthias Beck, who was so anxious to save precious seconds in the pits. Here's the big talking point, battle for the lead. 61 Pro Speed car, Marco Holzer defending, Raymond Narak causing contact, takes out the leader, but actually does himself more damage, breaking the radiator on the 11 car. They both continued, but it was only a matter of time before the 11 car would come to grief. The BMW Need for Speed team fighting their way back up and eventually taking the lead, and their second victory of the season as the 11 Muller Motorsports Porsche finally succumbed to that radiator problem. Pro Speed coming through into second place and Mark VDS in third. It was a fabulous win for BMW with their sister car in fourth position. Much celebration on the podium, and a victory that was made even more amazing because on Saturday afternoon that was the car that won the race, believe it or not. The mechanics had been up all night rebuilding the 76 car, and you've got to say that the drivers repaid them in the best way that they could by grabbing that race victory. Second of the season for Dunlop and for BMW. Now Zolder's a tricky little circuit, 2.5 miles around through the first couple of right-handers and out onto the very fast back straight. Two chicanes that you've got to keep an eye open for and use the curbs at. And there's a lot of places where you're braking and turning at the same time, which does cause the cars to be slightly unbalanced. You see one of the two of the drivers having to monster the cars around the circuit, and it makes for great viewing. And the spectators, and there are many of them this weekend, they are very, very close to the action. Right, let's get down to the head of the grid. Here's Haley Coxon.
Fred, these weather conditions are certainly going to be an advantage. Be able to hold on to your position?
Yeah, it's the best position when you do the pole position. I must do a good stint for when you have a little gap between us and the other car. That's why I must take a good start, and after this is a race.
Thank you.
Fred Magovicki, pole position for Hexus Aston Martin Racing. 1:31.2, the fastest lap of the weekend as far as qualifying was concerned. Alongside them on the front row will be the 99 car, the second of the Mark VDS racing teams, just missing out on a double pole for the local team. Gail Lesoudier and Maxime Martin then sharing the front row with Aston Martin. As I said, a packed crowd having a look at the racing today. It's been perfect conditions, round of the Belcar Touring Car Championship as well, and that has kept everyone interested during the break. There is the outside pole sitter, the Mark VDS racing team, and it will be Maxime Martin who will start that car. On row number 2, it's Porsche and Ford. The Marco Holzer and Paul van Splunderen Pro Speed Competition 61 car that was involved in that incident, and it is there. Marco Holzer installed in the car. We were a little worried because that car was late coming to the grid, and Paul van Splunderen dashed around to the grid to await its arrival. But there is the visual confirmation that Marco Holzer is ready to go. And with his result of second place, they have moved into second place in the Drivers' Championship, but by a scant 4 points over the 16 Corvette crew of Joachim Lambot and Mike Parisi. There is the outside of row 2, Fisher Racing, with Chris Nygaard He'll be handing over to Mikko Eskalainen. A very distinctive Mad Croc coloured Ford. Row number 3, fantastic qualifying by Enzo Ide and Greg Franke for the Belgian Audi Club Audi. It's the mainly white car. But let's go back down to the front row and Maxime Martin with Haley.
Maxine, this is certainly where you want to be, in the front row on the last race of the season.
Yeah, it's nice. Of course, here in Belgium for us it's very important. So now the race is long. We will see what we can do and hope we can go on the podium.
Thank you, Maxime.
The Fords have been quick here this weekend. The Porsches too. Reminder, of course, that the Holzer car has got 35 kilos from its race victory at the Algarve last time out. That's the 61 car, the NEC sponsored car on the right hand side of our picture there, just 2 rows back. And we did see Holzer struggling with that car towards the end of the race. Clearly the 35 kilos doesn't sound a lot, but around a circuit like this where you're accelerating, braking and turning, it takes a lot of movement. Supercar car park, one of the features of the GT3 European Championship this year. Porsches of various vintage there, the TVR slotted in between. The championship winning interview coming up. Here's Haley.
The battle is on for the team championships. Do you think you can take it?
Yeah, we will try everything to take the team championship title. In the morning we had problems with our tires, and now we have changed the setup on the car, and now we hope that we can save the team championship also.
Yeah. Daniel, thank you.
Well, they of course also carry 35 kilos on that Corvette for their win at the Algarve. At the moment they're on 192 points ahead of Pro Speed's 165. It would be a real disaster for them to lose it from here. The Drivers' Championship already wrapped up for Kelvitz and Hondal. Now there are a couple of cars missing from the grids, and when we see the full grid rundown we'll give you a little more details on that. Should also tell you that that 11 car has been pushed back down the grid 5 places for the incident that we saw earlier. That's contact whilst trying to take the lead. So Raymond Narak will start down on the inside of the 5th row. Was also disqualified, or at least removed from the results of the first race, as Stefan Rittel oversees the front of the grid, the man behind GT3 European Championship and the FIA GT1 World Championship as well, of course. Stalwart of GT racing for so many years. Yeah, the 11 car removed from the results of race 1 because it was taken out of Parc Fermé before Parc Fermé was open, and that basically was for them to have a look at the engine after they'd boiled it, having lost the radiators in lap 1 in race 1. So here is a confirmation then. Aston Martin and Ford on row number 1, charging down towards that first left-hander. Porsche and Ford GT on row number 2. Belgian Audi Club and Hexus AMR on row 3, followed by the Sandlock Phoenix Racing Audi and the Callaway Competition Corvette on row 4. On 5, it is that Müllner Motorsport Porsche and the Pro Speed Competition Porsche. On 6, the Need for Speed by Schubert Motorsport BMW and another one of the St. Lock Audis. Then it's United Autosports Audi and Graf Racing Corvette, looking for second in the Drivers' Championship, of course. Team Rosberg and Müllner Motorsport on 8. On 9, Graf Racing and the second of the Audis of United Autosport. Callaway Competition back on the 10th row with the Ascari. Chad Racing and Mark VDS Racing Team. Now that's a fast car from the back of there. Duncan Cameron Racing Ferrari, not there. Electrical problems keeping that car off the grid. And the Team Rosberg Audi is there. It is there. Just seeing at the back there, pulling into the middle of our shot. So, no, in fact, that's its teammate. My apologies. The other car that was involved in that accident is the 4 car, and that hasn't made it back out. There was talk from the team during the break when I spoke to them they might be able to get that car out for the second race, and my spirits were momentarily lifted there. The 76 Need for Speed Schubert Motorsport BMW, which won the last race, of course, because of that accident, didn't qualify at all for race 2. So Patrick Soderland and Edward Sandstrom, with a very quick car, will start dead last for race number 2. And they've got the Mark VDS Ford ahead of them. There they are, winners of race 1. What a story that was. Fantastic stuff. And they must be in such good spirits. You've got to think that they'll carve their way through the midfield at least. And maybe an early pit stop from them to play the tactics game. On board with the Hexus Aston Martin racing car, Thomas Ackery taking the first stint. Going down into the back straight chicane there. Remember, the pit stop window from 25 minutes to 35 minutes of the hour-long race. Driver change only. And that tactical decision can certainly win and lose races. We saw at the Algarve. It was a matter of moments that kept Callaway Corvette from taking 2 wins there. And indeed, the Callaway racing team have been very tidy with their pit strategy. Certainly Silverstone earlier in the year, they managed to get their pit stops absolutely right. Pro Speed at the Algarve in the Porsche, certainly that victory down to the fact that they snuck in and basically caught everybody by surprise with the first car in. It tends to be their strategy. Will they do it again from the second row of the grid? With Marco Holzer starting the car, you'd think they might go long. Paul van Splunteren, who is slightly the lesser of the 2 drivers, I'm sure he would admit that himself. Let him do a little less of the racing. There is the car we're talking about, the NEC machine. Good to see Fisher Racing with Chris Nygaard and Mikko Eskalainen right up at the front of the field as well. It's been a great season for GT3 racing. What a category this one is. I saw the first race at Silverstone a few years ago, and it has really caught the attention of the teams, the sponsors, and of course the general public. There's a big crowd here at Zolder today. The paddock at lunchtime, very, very crowded indeed. It'll be a rolling start for round 12 of the FIA GT3 European Championship here at Zolder. The Nissan 370Z pulls off into the pit lane entrance. It's now down to Fred Makovic in the Aston to bring the field through the Jackie chicane. He's on our right-hand side with the Ford, who he's just dropping back a little bit, and they're all concertinaing up. And now the dash for the line, the green flag waves, and we're racing for the final time in the GT3 European Championship. Great start by the Pro Speed Porsche, coming into second place there behind the Aston, unless the Ford can cut across. Lots of dicing on the infield. The Need for Speed BMW getting involved there, making up a position or 2. And at the head of the field, it's the Ford looking down the inside, side by side towards Bianchi corner. They can't go like that. And sensible driving by the Mark VDS. Maxime Martin backing out of it, allowing Makovic through in the lead. And look at the Porsche, the Pro Speed car, super quick this morning. Down towards the heavy braking area. So important to get through this chicane very quickly. Oh, that's the Graf Racing car taking too much curb there. They're battling for second in the Drivers' Championship. Mike Parisi and Joachim Lambert, and that's just what they don't need, losing positions right at the beginning of the race, and they're side by side with the Audi Sport car there as well. That's the number 5 Saint-Loc Phoenix Racing car, Gregory Guiver. So coming round to the end of the first lap and scattering the autumn leaves here, as Guiver has got through, and just behind them, that's been a decent start as well for the 23 United Autosports. Zach Brown, the team owner, starting that car. Matthew Bell to take on. And look, in the background there, already making up positions, Edward Sandstrom in the Need for Speed car, 3 wide across the line. Look at this. This is surely someone's got to have a bit of sense here. As Makovic gone through, the Ford's gone through in second place, and everyone else battling for third. Hexus Racing on board down in 9th position. Thomas Acurie, and he's right in among us as well as he tries to go up the inside of the champions, the drivers' champions there. Might slide just at the inside of turn 4, can't do it. Drops back in. Decent run though. Now he's on the wrong side of the track here because it's a left-hander coming up. He'll go down 3 gears. It's quite heavy braking. He's trying to make the Corvette make a mistake. Bang on the curve on the left, bang on the curve on the right. Oh, bit of sideways motion there and a bit of waving by the vet in front as well. That was a little too much of the exit curve, I think, taken by the Aston. Daniel Kielewicz then feeling the pressure, and at the moment that heavy Corvette, remember 35 kilos of success ballast from its victory at the Algarve in the last event, is clearly slowing that car down. Look, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars sitting in behind him as the Graf Racing Corvette makes up a position. And that is the battle. Tremendous stuff there, and basically all of the cars behind that Corvette, the Aston, the BMW, the Audi, the Vet, the Porsche, and the second Audi at the back of that group as well, they are all 35 kilos lighter than the car in front. Of mistake by the 16. Parisi drifting wide on the first left-hander. Is that an opportunity for the Porsche to make some hay behind? And that is Raymond Narak, who's rather gone backwards since the start of the race. Took a 5-place penalty for the contact, and he's really paying for that now. He's embroiled in the midfield battles. Now, where is our BMW fighting from the back? There it is! What a first couple of laps! Unbelievable stuff. 17th position for Edward Sandstrom from dead last. Now that was a quick car this morning. There's nothing to suggest that it shouldn't be quick now, but even so, in the first 5 minutes he's made up 7 positions, and he is charging. And despite the fact that he's in traffic, he is much quicker than the cars around him. At the head of the field, Fred McAvicky has checked out, for the moment at least. He's just put in the fastest lap as he's completed lap number 3 at 1:32.2, and he's a couple of seconds ahead of the field. It's the 99 Ford, Maxime Martin in second, then Marco Holzer in third for Pro Speed Porsche. This is the battle for 8th down, and it's permanently 1 from 5 here, isn't it? Just a little gap opening up now. What's happened there? That clearly a mistake then from the Porsche. That's the Graf Racing Vet right up amongst them there. Down the back straight, one of the really quick blasts that we have here at Zolder. Now here's the Hexus car, still sitting in 9th position. Just listen to that V12. Even when it went out on its warm-up lap, you could hear it all the way around the track. A little bit of a dust cloud being thrown up behind the Aston Martin from the Michelins on the back of the car. He's dropped away just a tad from the Corvette. Looks like Daniel Kielewicz has settled into a bit of a rhythm, and now from attacking, Thomas Acurie has got to look at his mirrors, because Claudia Hurtgen and the Need for Speed Schubert Racing BMW is beginning to mount a challenge. She's got to be feeling the pressure as well, as behind her, Gregory Grivet in the Audi is looking racy. And he's got company as well, as Hurtgen goes down the inside. Didn't look quite determined enough there, really. But it seems to have put the Hexus Racing car offline for a moment. Acurie then maybe a little bit spooked by that charge down the inside by Claudio Hurtgen. He's drifted out wide but managed to get it back in. Wasn't the accepted line, certainly there. And at the back of the group, the Audis hunting in packs as well. Claudio Hurtgen in the Schubert Need for Speed BMW Z4. Immense experience. Hurtgen's driven sports cars at every level up to including Le Mans. Amazing that it was her first win in GT3. GT3 series been going for 5 years, and it took to year 5 before Claudia got on the top step of the podium this year. So the Aston in 9th, BMW 10th, then the Audi in 11th. At the head of the field. Oh, is there a bit of debris there at the outside of the track? No, it's just, I think just a little shadow there from the Armco. As again, Hurtgen shows the front of the BMW to Thomas Ackery in this battle for 9th. Down to 12th, 13th. Oh, and there's again a dive down the canal turn. Now that again is a move we haven't seen this weekend. And Claudia Hurtgen getting a bit cheeky there with Thomas Ackery. And now she's going to have to defend, I suspect. Gregory Guiver in the Audi. And behind them, it's the Graf Racing Corvette, which is under pressure. Looked like the 11 car coming through there, which is the car that was slow starting Raymond Narak in the Pro Speed Porsche. Excuse me, in the Muller Racing Motorsport Porsche. Hexus, Need for Speed, then the Audi. And it looked like the Graf cars just held on to that position. Silver and green Corvette there, under a lot of pressure from the blue and white Porsche. And look at the gaps. Gradually that Audi of Guiver is closing in. This is the 9th place car of Thomas Ackery. He is really, really working hard. Down towards the first corner, and this time Hurtgen, having trailed the manoeuvre for the last 3 laps, has gone up the inside and made it stick, and through comes Guiver around the outside as he goes in the canal turn. Marvellous stuff. You could see Thomas Ackery was really fighting that Aston Martin as he came out of the Jackie Hicks chicane onto the front straight, but it's got the ponies, tries to get up the inside, going into Bianchi. On the back straight, this is going to be interesting. The big V12 Aston Martin clearly has some poke. Can he get close enough to mount a charge? He's going to have to look down his inside here as well. The Muller Motorsport car has got past the Corvette and moved up into 12th position. So new 9th place, Claudia Hurtgen in BMW. New 10th, Guiver in the Audi. Down to 11th for Ackery in the Aston Martin. Up to 12th, Raymond Narak recovering in that 11 Muller Motorsports car. It's a quick car and he's very, very late on the brakes. Has Ackery seen him? He has. It gives him room. Now it's a drag race to the next left-hander. The Porsche's got it, I think, but only just takes the line in front of the Aston Martin. Raymond Narak clearly unhappy to have been penalised for that accident in the first race. The red mist is down and he is charging, trying to make up those 5 grid position penalty places. And Guiver at the moment, and the man on the mission, and all of a sudden, from being the aggressor, Claudia Hurtgen is having to stoutly defend her hard-earned 9th position. Variety is the spice of endurance racing. BMW, Audi, Porsche, Aston Martin and Corvette all in the mix at the bottom end of the top 10, and still leading Aston Martin from in second place. The 99 Mark VDS Ford in second place, nearly 3 seconds back now. And Marco Holzer in the Porsche is third, and he's another 3 seconds behind that. We're watching the big battle on the circuit. Positions being traded here as Hurtgen is trying, and you can almost feel the frustration. She's fought her way past the Aston Martin up into 9th position. She really wants to be off in pursuit of 8th place Daniel Kalvitz in the Corvette, but she's having to deal with what's going on behind her. That should be Claudia Hurtgen's target, the back end of that big American V8 powered sports car built in Bowling Green, Kentucky. America's sports car, they call the Vet. And it is fair to say, having driven one in the United States for 10 days quite recently, it is absolutely universally loved. It's quite remarkable. When you drive one, everybody wants to talk to you. People are courteous to you on the road. This car is a phenomenon in the United States. They sell every one that they build. Karlovitz at the moment holding down 8th position. The Ford GT. This is 4th position, Chris Nygaard, and he's got a bit of a challenge now as well from the Songlok Phoenix Racing. Less than half a second as they went across the line. Bruce Logerbu. And this is the beauty of this format of racing, because really there are half the field that could take a podium position every time they turn out onto the grid. Mad Croc sponsored Ford heads back towards the start-finish line in the autumn sunshine here at Zolder. Couldn't have asked for any better weather. It's round 12 of the GT3 European Championship. Just the first quarter of the race completed, and here's how they stand. Pole sitter Fred Makovic leads it by 3 seconds. From in second place, Maxime Martin in the number 99 Ford GT. In third, Marco Holzer is another 4.5 seconds further back in the Pro Speed 61 Porsche. And now here's that battle again for 9th position. And it's not a safe 9th position for Claudia Hurtgen, who's still got the Audi all over the back of that BMW. Look, she's having to be defensive even coming out of the canal turn, and that's allowing the number 11 Porsche of Raymond Narak to close in on this battle. It'll be 3 cars together as they come into the chicane. Watch for the distinctive front end of the BMW as we're looking forward to that battle ahead. This is 7th and 8th. Marcus Paltala in the Porsche. Kalvitz in the Corvette. Where do you look? Really, where do you look? The spectators definitely get their value for money. Now, I predicted this would be 3 cars, and it is. Hurtgen 9th, Guiver 10th, and Narak in 11th. And they're slightly closing in, actually, on this battle ahead of them. Not by much. It doesn't take much here. Now, this is the 9th place battle. And will the Audi, will Guiver have a little look down the road? Behind them, guess what? We've got another battle. Because that's the Hexus Aston with the Graf Corvette, the first of the United Autosports cars, and hello, the fairy tale continues. That is 15th position from the back of the grid for Edward Sandstrom, and he's not finished, clearly not finished. The car that was damaged, and I've got to be honest, I thought it was beyond repair. I didn't think we'd see that car racing today. When it was brought back, the front end of it was in rubbish bags. The guys did a great job overnight down at Schubert Motorsport and gave a brilliant car, which has won the first race, but had to start for the back of the grid because they hadn't qualified, now already up to 15th. And it won't be long, you know, before he's having a sniff at the top 10, and this is the bottom end of the top 10. The BMW 9th, the Audi in 10th position, Quiver with Raymond Narak, who had to stand in the naughty corner and get 5 grid places taken away from him after the contact with the 61 Pro Speed car. 0.6 of a second between those two. Now this is 7th and 8th, just coming through the bottom. Oh, big slide there by the Corvette of Daniel Kilvitz. BMW's made up another position, up to 14th. He's put the 23 of Matt Bell to the sword. So Matt Bell now has to look at the rapidly disappearing rear end of the Need for Speed BMW. You'd never think that car had been smashed up 24 hours ago. There's its teammates, a couple of places further ahead. Claudia Hürtgen. Teams now will be starting to look at their position on track and wondering about pit stops. We're just about 7 minutes away from the pit lane opening. Do you come in early? Try and find yourself a piece of clear track, which on a 4-kilometre circuit, 2.5 miles, very difficult indeed. It's so easy to get back out and embroiled in someone else's battle that you don't really need to be in. Or do you hang on and stay out late? That's what we saw from the Ford team last time around. They couldn't hold on. Ended up in 3rd place. Hürtgen ahead of Quiver. Just the two of them now. Now further up the field, this is the battle for 4th again. Chris Nygaard being followed by the number 6 Saint-Loc Phoenix Racing of Bruce Logeru. Just watching the timing screen to see what's happened to the 11 Porsche. Long lap last time around, a 1:37.8, so the 11 car, which should have been in behind the Audi that's battling, he's gone missing. There's the leader. 2nd place is the Ford. Now in 5th position, the number 6 Audi that we were looking at has just had the black and white driving standards flag held out over the start-finish line for not respecting the limits of the track. There's 3rd, Pro Speed Porsche, elegant and splendid isolation. 4th and 5th, the Ford, and there is the 6. That's the one that's been warned. Let's go down to the pits and to Haley.
Patrick, Edwards certainly had some challenges out there, but are you happy with his stint so far?
Yeah, I mean, so it looks like he's gained about 10 places, which I think is spectacular. So he's found a good rhythm. He's trying to overtake. It's pretty tricky to overtake here, though. But I think he's doing so far an excellent job, and hopefully I can do as well. We'll see.
Wish you luck. Thank you.
Well, there is his teammate. Got to be the headline makers of the weekend, haven't they? From a bucket of bits to the top of the podium in less than 24 hours. Oh, and here's a great battle still going on for 9th and 10th position. Hürtgen in the BMW. This has been great defence from Hürtgen. But look, they have caught up to the 101 car. And Paltala seems to have got away in 7th position, the Porsche that was there. There's Paltala, and he's got a bit of a gap back to Kilvitz. That was the Corvette going through there. And then it's BMW versus Audi. Massive rivals in the showroom and on the circuit. The Z4 turned into a very successful racing car for endurance racing. Perfect example of the different answers to the same question in GT3. BMW front-engined rear-wheel drive, Audi mid-engined rear-wheel drive. Very different cars, both out on the circuit, competing for overall victories. And Audi have taken one this year, BMW now have taken two. Corvette and Lamborghini also successful this year. Across the line, there's your leader, Maxime Martin. Excuse me, that's your second place car. Started on the front row, there is your leader. Let's go down to Bas Leiders, the owner of this Ford team.
Bas, Maxime got off to a good start. How do you feel he's going to do for the rest of the race?
Well, I think Maxime is a good driver, sensible driver. He's there hanging on in second place. The Aston is quite quick, so it's getting away a little bit, but it's important he stays in contact. If he can stay within 3 seconds, 4 seconds, that would be okay. We still have a chance of winning and at least the podium.
Thanks for talking to us.
No overall wins for Ford this season yet. 2 for Porsche, 6 for Corvette, 1 for Audi, 2 for BMW. Have had a pole position. Oh, hello, look at this. Oh, touch, coming into the back straight chicane, the Graf Corvette and our photogenic BMW, the 76 car, up from the back of the grid into 13th position for Edward Sandstrom. Now let's hope he hasn't sustained too much damage there. It looked like a side-to-side impact, and we've seen that break wheel rims in the past. Hexus now battling with Matt Bell and Thomas Ackery, looking to have a little problem getting that Aston off the slower corners. Matt Bell looking to line him up into the braking area for the chicane. Look to the left-hand side here. Will we see the red, white and blue of the Audi come down the inside? No, we don't. It's 14th, 15th and 16th having a good scrap there. But the number 2 Porsche in amongst it as well. This is the battle ahead, and the Graf car goes wide again. We've seen this happen before 2 or 3 laps ago now. Can the BMW take advantage of that? Sandstrom having a look, just a classic cutback, and now they're very close to touching. Sandstrom realises, I think he's got a better car, maybe just a little bit more in terms of tyres. Couldn't get himself into a perfect position, but now he's going to stay to the inside. No, he's switched back. The Corvette will defend. Into the very hard braking area for the second chicane. Here the car's grounding out there. Again, a big slide by the Corvette. Rear tyres for my money starting to go on the Corvette now, as the pit window opens. Now everyone has to keep their wits about them, because they'll be popping in and out the pits like you know what. As here comes Matthew Bell down the inside of Ackery, gets it done. That's a nice pass. 14th position. Oh, drifts wide though, and the Aston. There's no doubt about the top speed of the Aston Martin. Just at the moment, oh, they dive into the pits, and also coming in behind. These are the first 2 cars to take advantage of the pit lane being open. Coming in behind them, Mulder Motorsport. Meantime, the 76 car with evidence perhaps of just a little bit of movement on the bonnet of that car. Sure, that was caused by the side-to-side. Here is the pit lane action. Well, that's the 77 car that's coming as well, Claudia Hurtgen. That sneaked in without us seeing it. So that was very canny by Claudia. Also coming in the Hexus car. We saw that dive in at the start of the Niki Lauda, Jackie Ick, sorry, chicane. Now, here's another car that started at the back. De Donker will get out. Matthias Besch gets in. He's got up to 20th position. There's the Graf Racing car. This is the 17 car. Not in the top 20 as it stands at the moment. Haven't had the best of weekends. And here is the 77 of Claudia Hertgen going out. Now, by my calculations, she was the first in. Just sneaked in without us noticing. As the battle continues, these cars have not yet stopped, and don't stop this time either. This is now the battle for, it's going to be just about